Okay. Well, welcome everybody. I know you're just worked out, so you get to bring your heart rate down and listen to some nutrition talk. I hope this is going to be like a give and take. Ask questions, think about what I'm saying, and then at the end, you can ask questions, anything you want. That's what we're here. We're here to help you guys come up with a plan for you. Here at GC Healthy Living, we work on a personalized level. We don't stick you in a box. We kind of listen to what you need and what your lifestyle is, and then we kind of formulate a plan together. And then we work that plan and support you through that plan. So today we're talking about planning, prepping, and plating your food. So we're going to talk about why these are important. We're going to talk about some action steps, and then we're going to talk about some tips. So if you guys have anything you want to add to this, feel free to shout some things out and give your input as we're going through it. So we're going to start with planning. Why do you think it's important to plan? Ultimately, we're trying to achieve our goals. We're trying to see success. We're trying to live longer and healthier and well. So why do you think it's important to plan?
Yeah.
Or some of the reasons why it's important to plan your meals.
Another call.
It is.
You don't end up eating junk.
Right, no junk. We're prepared. So we're prepared. What else does it do when you have a plan? One of the biggest things we hear when we're working with clients is, I don't have time, right? It saves you time because you don't have to think about it because you have a plan. So it saves time. What else? Anybody ever get stressed about what you're going to eat, like worried about what you're going to eat? What's next? What am I going to do? Okay, so it's going to decrease stress, which we love that. We all should be trying to achieve that, right? What else?
More energy because we are healthy, so.
More balanced. Excellent, good. Yeah, you're going to choose better, right? Anything else? What if you have a certain dietary need, right? Like what if we're gluten-free? You can't not be prepared if you need to be gluten-free, right? So dietary needs. Anything else you can think of that we want to add to that list?
Save money.
Save money. Good. What else? There's one more big one. Why do most of us do what we do?
Health.
Weight loss. Weight loss. Because if we aren't prepared, then we end up eating things that we shouldn't, right? Yeah. So those are a couple whys. Now, when you think about coming up with a plan, so I'm going to just kind of use me as an example because I don't know what y'all do, but this is kind of how I approach my week. So I start with my calendar. With 3 kids, husband, jobs, all this kind of stuff, I need to know what that week looks ahead. It's going to be different every week, right? So I know Monday night, Tuesday night, I'm exhausted. So I want something that's going to be ready. So those 2 nights, it's going to be quick, right? It's quick and easy on these 2 nights. I know that. Then I'm going to look at what I have on hand because I want to use what I have. So I'm going to go into the freezer, I'm going to go into the fridge and say, okay, what can I come up with here? Then we want to start with basics. What do we always need on our plate so that we're full and satisfied? Protein. So we're going to start with our protein. And then we want variety. So here's what I think. So if you're not vegetarian, like I'll do maybe on Monday, I'll do beef. Tuesday, I'll do chicken. Wednesday, I'll do a fish. Then maybe I'll do a meatless. And then we start over. Beef, chicken, and then I always leave maybe 1 or 2 nights that we're going to eat out because it happens, right? We're on the run, it's just life. So I'm always going to leave this out when I'm tired. What else? What other action steps do you think you can take to achieve that? Coming up with a plan. Here's my little cheat sheet here. Veggies. So what do veggies do for us? Fiber. Yeah, your gut. And so the more you fill up on fiber, the less you're going to look for other things. So we want to know where's my veggies. So then I'm going to add vegetables right to this. And I'm going to rotate through different things. Maybe I'll do a California mix. Maybe you do broccoli. Maybe you're doing a stir fry. So on and so forth. Maybe you're doing a side salad or maybe you're doing a big salad. So those are all little ways of planning out. The one thing I do like to do is use a cheat sheet. So a meal log It's just a one-sheeter, and I'll sit down. You're gonna identify a certain day of the week that you want to sit down and take some time and think about this, right? And I'm gonna write it out. It doesn't have to be followed to a T, but at least it's a roadmap so that I'm not scrambling. And sometimes they need to switch, right? Maybe when Thursday becomes Tuesday and I'm not in the mood for that, or the kids don't want that. So you need to be flexible, but at least this gives you an idea. And you can do it down to every meal. You can do it to the meals that you struggle with the most, that are most challenging, so that at least you have those out of the way. Whatever works for you, but I find this really simple and easy. The other thing that I would always sit down with is a list of foods, because sometimes we get stuck in eating the same things all the time. So we want diversity for our gut, right? So we want this, if you work with us and you're part of the coaching, ongoing coaching, you get resources like this that are really helpful. So like a list of foods broken out into proteins, carbs, fats, and you can use this to make your meals so that you don't get stuck in that same, chicken and green beans, chicken and green beans, right? And then you have what your plate looks like. What else? So we're using a template. We're making smart choices because we're doing a balanced plate. What about how you're prepping the food? We have to think about what do we need to be able to prep the food? So are we grilling? Are we broiling? Are we baking? What are we doing with it? And you can even write that down so you can plan out what you need for that as well. So just thinking ahead of what you want your plate to look like. And then we're going to make a grocery list. So we're going to go shopping. Great. Okay. Tips. I call it self-care Sunday, right? You're gonna do something nice for yourself, and then you're gonna get ready for the week. So that's kind of when I'm having my coffee on Sunday morning or whatever that is, Sunday night, you're making that list, spending some time on your food choices for the week. Okay. One other thing that I want to point out here, and that kind of goes on to prepping, is when you have your protein, well, I always start with protein, whether it's tofu, eggs, whatever we're doing. You want to take that dinner, whatever you're having for dinner, that's mostly people's biggest meal, and you want to double it. Because what is that going to do? It's going to give us another meal for the next day. So let's just say you're using a roasted chicken on a Sunday night. So we're going to eat some roasted chicken. We're going to make 2 roasted chickens, and then we're going to use chicken the next day to put into a salad, or we're going to do some lettuce wraps, or we're going to put it in a stir fry. What can you do with that protein that's going to take it to other meals? So you have one less meal to think about when you're in the kitchen, because I don't want to spend every meal prepping in the kitchen. I want to do one big one, and how can that go further, right? So we're planning ahead for that. And then one last thing is, don't go hungry to the grocery store, right? We're going to make a list, but we're going to stick to the list. Okay, you want to add anything to the planning?
I think it's just, you got to figure out what's going to work for you and your family too. When my family, I don't meal prep for myself. I meal prep for my kids because I get free meals at the hospital. So I'm not prepping for me. That's easy. I'm done. I don't have to think about myself. But I have to think about my boys. I prep, and then we prep for my husband, and then we prep our dinners so that we have everything ready because we're all over the place. So laying out that, I already know I need 2 breakfasts for my boys, a breakfast for my husband, 3 lunches, and then we need to kind of figure out some snacks and some dinners. So just kind of, like she said, laying out the roadmap of what you need and kind of working backwards. So I know I need all this. Now, what can I do that's simple and easy? What can I do that's easy to reheat or easy to use? We'll do a big batch of a protein, and then we'll use that in different ways throughout the week for dinner. So we'll have typically 2 to 3 different proteins. We cook them all on Sunday, and they're in the fridge ready to go just to reheat so we can grab and go. Same thing for our vegetables. We have simple things. I'm a big fan of frozen and like steamable vegetables because they're low prep. They might not be the tastiest, but you can do that kind of stuff when you have more time. So we do green beans a lot. We do the frozen mixed veggies, and we heat them up and we add some flavor with herbs and spices. So there's simple ways that you can add flavor without adding a ton of time too. So just think about what you're looking for. It doesn't have to be just like you said, the chicken, rice, and green beans. There's so many other things that you can do. Most of my dinners, 4 or 5, you have 5, take less than 30 minutes to put together. And they're on the plates. They're easier. You feel better doing them than going out and grabbing that fast food. And then you're saving money too. So just kind of like backtracking, like as you're planning, think about it, backtrack, and go from there.
Absolutely. All right, let's talk about prep a little bit so that once we buy all the stuff, we have an idea of what we're doing. If it's in the fridge ready to go, we're gonna eat it. If it's not, I have to chop the strawberries, I have to, right? So what are we gonna do? So consider, why do we wanna do this? This is important as far as like the plate method. Think about why you wanna prep things. Some of this as well, but what are some other things when you're prepping? When it comes to weight, what do we want to make sure we're doing on our plate? Portions, thank you, exactly. Portion control. And what else? What about the quality of your food? Right, your macros and the quality. So we want nutrients, right? When we're prepping, we want to make sure we're getting good things in. So you got nutrient balance there. What are some action steps, do you think, when you're prepping? Nicole kind of mentioned it, bulk. So action step would be bulk planning. So she said making extra protein, 2 or 3 proteins at the beginning of the week, and then they last you through a few days. What else? How about roasting some vegetables? Right? Bulk veggies. That go a long way, right? You can put that in a stir fry, you can put it in eggs, like I do that a lot. If I'm making extra broccoli, I just put it in eggs the next day. Or even if I make a steak, I'm putting steak with my eggs the next day. Like how can you go further? What else are we doing with knives? Chopping and slicing, right? If your strawberries are already cut, you're gonna eat them. If your carrots and your broccoli is already cut, there's a better chance you're gonna go for those.
Same with your kids too.
Yeah,
I keep
grab
things
it up.
chopped. We have bell peppers, carrots, cucumbers, all this stuff already chopped, because those are off limit or anytime snacks. I mean, so they can just go in and grab, and they do because they're ready to eat. They can grab they can eat as many as they want, and it's easy for them. They don't have to go on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just go get it.
exactly.
So divide meals, have some samples here, I'll show you later, but having it grab and go and ready, especially for the kids. Like if you're trying to get out in the morning with school, have things prepped ahead of time, so you just throw them in their lunchbox. The other thing we could have mentioned up here is if you're already making stuff, freezing for the future, right? So if you're making a big batch of like an egg casserole or some sort of healthy broccoli and cheese casserole, whatever it is.
From hot meals.
You can freeze it. Yep, so bulk meals, absolutely. Yeah, so household items. What are some of the items we're gonna use? How many of you have an air fryer? Do you use it a lot? Yes, I know. What else do we use? Steamer, crock pot. I use my crock pot at least once a week.
Do
Steamer,
any of you have the
rice.
slap chop things? I forget exactly what they're called, but you can cut veggies super, super quick. You don't have it makes prepping so much faster because you can do an onion, slap it down, chops it.
Do you know one that's made of metal? I always find the plastic ones and they break.
Mine is metal.
Yours is
Yeah.
metal? Okay.
Yeah.
You buy it for metal.
I bought it online. I don't know where I bought it, but that's a game changer in terms of like prepping onions and different things, and you're just cutting. You can do it for multiple meals too, and then divvy it up.
Yeah, that's all they keep.
So much easier for me. We do fruits, vegetables. Anytime I make a salad, I just throw it in there. We're on our way.
Okay, so that's great. So some tips for this would be invest in quality containers, right? Preferably what? Glass, right? And sometimes they have those sectioned glasses, the dishes. I love those. Like I used to serve those for my kids, so that I make sure I have a vegetable, a fruit, and protein. Like that's how I serve my kids, and it's following that balanced plate. Find consistency. So we mentioned prepping on the same day, like, and this is like a parameter, like when am I gonna do this? When and why? When, where, and why?
And once you get into a rhythm, it does not take very long. Because you have like some staple breakfast meals that you can change up a little bit. You have some staple lunches that you can do. And it takes, my meal prep on the weekends takes maybe 2 hours to do everything. So you'll find your rhythm and you'll find your groove with different recipes and different staples. and it'll become really easy to just do quick 2 hours, and then you're done for the week. Like when you think about it, 2 hours and being done for the week is pretty nice.
But, you know, we mentioned dinners, but it's kind of the same thing for breakfast. Like, think about that too. Like, so I'll show you my samples. So I make these all the time. So these are my to-go oats, right? My grab and go. So it's a 1/4 cup oats. You can put yogurt, kefir. I have pumpkin seeds. I have blueberries. And I make 3 or 4 of these. My husband will grab one. And I make them different. So like I have another one in there. I do strawberries. I'll do a protein powder or a peanut butter powder and cinnamon. So you can come up with all these different ones that's so easy to grab and go. And then I'll usually throw more protein with this, like maybe 2 hard-boiled eggs. Super easy. Got these at the dollar store and I just fill them every week. So some days I'll do this. Some days you'll do eggs. Other days you'll do smoothies. So you're getting a variety of different things for breakfast as well. So if you have 3 to 4 go-to items, you're set. The other thing that I like to do is pack up little snacks. So like this, especially for school. But the one thing I want to say about this is most people will put just a bunch of carrots in a baggie, right? And we want color and variety because this all gives us different things, nutrient, vitamins, and minerals. So we want to take a variety of different colors, put them in baggies, and you're grab and go for the week. Those little packs of hummus, anything to make it easy. Yeah, so variety. Because I know, like, my kids will just say, oh, I'm just going to take care of it. No, I was like, put some other things in there. Have something green, right? So those are just some of my go-tos. Okay, so let's talk about plating. I think this is where, and this is for me, and I don't know if Nicole want to answer this, but this is where mindset comes in when you're plating your food. Because once we start thinking about what does food do for us, when you start approaching it like that, I feel like you make better choices, right? Like if you look at your plate and it looks beautiful and it has color and we're following the plate method, you're like, this is awesome. Look at what I'm doing for myself. And you're going to feel better and you're going to take your time, you're going to eat it, you're going to enjoy it, you're going to taste it. Sometimes if we wait too long and we're not prepared, we're just shoveling, right? So we want to take our time here. So a visually appealing plate is going to be more satisfying and visually, you know, satisfying to you. What are some action steps that you can do here when you're plating your meals? I kind of mentioned it. Color and variety, right? What do we talk about all the time? The plate method. Do I have all my macronutrients on there? Because each of those things are going to give us what we need for energy, to feel good, prevent disease, all that kind of stuff. What else? Portion control, right? Herbs and spices, you got all these different things. What am I adding to, what else can I add to it? That's going to make this delicious and I'm going to want to keep doing things for myself, right? Some tips here, just experiment with textures. Like if you look at a salad and you have all your colorful veggies and your leafy greens, what can you add that's crunchy to it? Maybe it's some nuts and seeds. Maybe it's some other protein in addition to what you have on there, like chickpeas, edamame. Like how can you add to make it even more of a nutrient dense meal? Okay, what else? Anything else? Any questions?
I would say for me, placement is also really important. Like I set up my plate in a way so that before I can even think about getting the carbs, I've already eaten so much protein and veggies. I think that's really
Like
important.
the order, order
Yeah.
of food. Yeah. Yeah.
I take that sometimes to the level of making it so that I can't even see what's at the bottom. Yeah, sometimes
That's a good
how I
point.
eat it, but sometimes, but
I love you. The order of your food, especially if you have blood sugar issues, right? You want to eat the protein. Well, it goes back and forth. I don't know how you feel, but like if you're going to eat your veggies first or eat your protein first, and then if you're going to eat any kind of carbs.
Yeah, I don't think you need to be particular between those two.
Yeah.
Eat your protein and veggies, enjoy those two together. Then, and you'll often feel like, oh, I'm full. I don't need to eat as much of these other things. You know, and you feel good. You feel satisfied because those things take longer to chew. They take longer to digest. It's not as quick. So your body's actually filling it faster too.
Yeah. Anything else? Any other questions? You know, you have to have some. Anybody struggle with certain meals?
I have a few like additional tips. but I'm gonna read the questions first.
I think sometimes with the plating, depending upon the culture you're in, some cultures are really rice heavy and they have like a sauce with the rice.
Yeah.
So I always try to figure out ways to bulk up that rice when it's not just full rice, like add cauliflower rice to it.
Yes.
You can cook it in bone broth if you're okay with that, because that's gonna add some protein too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So there's-
just giving them that volume so that they can scoop 3 scoops of rice with their sauce and they'll feel like they're.
And then just finding, incorporate. I always like to talk about adding instead of taking away. So if rice is a staple, I'm not gonna tell you don't eat rice. If whatever it is your staple or your favorite food, if pizza is your favorite food, how can we bulk it up?
Yeah.
I do pizza in my family, we bulk it up.
Yes.
So there's so many different ways that you can incorporate any type of food that you want. My boys have pancakes, but there's chia seeds, there's berries, there's things that are in there that I incorporate to make it so it's filling and it's not just something that they're gonna be hungry an hour later for. So you can take anything and really make it into whatever, with just a little bit of tweaking.
And to Nicole's point, if you're gonna have pizza, I always have a salad, try to have salads and some of that fiber and veggies before, and then you have your pizza because you're less likely to have 3 pizza. You have 2
And don't
instead of 3. So you'll have a little less of that stuff. You can still enjoy it.
Or there's better ways to make, people are doing like chicken pizzas now, where they're flattening out the pizza and making the chicken the base. You can use a better quality base, and then you can add, my husband always hates because I add a ton of my bits have vegetables on it. I love it. It makes me feel good. And then I eat vegetables on the side with it.
You don't feel as bad eating.
Yeah. There's so many different ways that you can do your favorite foods without skimping.
Yeah,
We
absolutely.
have a question online. Miss Tanya asked if we met or exceeded our veggies for the day, but are still low on fiber, what's an easy addition or fix?
So veggies are actually not always the best source of fiber. They are volume food. So they have fiber. We need them. They're great for our gut. We need that color for our gut microbiome. Fiber, if you really want bang for your buck, berries, raspberries, blackberries, pumpkin seeds, chia seeds, hemp seeds. There's kiwi. Kiwis are fantastic. Eat the skin.
It's pretty easy.
Eat the skin on the kiwi.
Raspberries are the number, I think that in a cup
It's
of
like
raspberries, like 7 or 8
So
grams.
yeah. But there's so many different ways. You can, if you email one of us, we can always send you a list of high fiber foods too. That you can just, we call chia seeds in my family nature sprinkles, because we just throw them in everything. Because they're fantastic little fiber filled packs, and they have protein and omegas and a lot of these things. You're getting so much more than fiber too. But yeah, vegetables are fantastic. You're gonna get a lot. Those are, don't skip, don't slow down on those. But add in these other things. Edamame is a huge fiber packed. Peas, there's so many good ones out there.
Yeah, I think, if you're tracking protein, the second thing if you want to track is your fiber intake. For sure. 6 to 8 cups of veggies, right?
And I always go at least 30 grams, if not more, of fiber. But if you have not been eating that, do not start there. Don't go to 0 to 30.
You
Start slow
You're very dialed in.
and drink a lot of water. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you'll get there and you'll feel like you need it. When I have a low fiber day, I feel crummy. Like I need my fiber. My fiber makes me feel so much better.
And you'll want less of the other things.
Yeah.
When you fill up on that stuff. Good questions. Anything else?
So what do you guys do if you fall off track? Say you miss self-care Sunday. Something comes up, like, oh, it's Monday.
Your mom did that workout weekend.
So there's nothing like a roasted chicken from the grocery store and a bag.
There's so many different ways that you can do it. Trent and I didn't meal prep yesterday because this weekend we were all over with the kids. But we have these staples. We have things in our freezer. So last night I grabbed some chickpeas, some zucchini. I like to just saute it quickly in a pan. We throw some protein in it and we're full. You know, it's adding that volume, but having those staples can really, really help us keeping things in the freezer, keeping like proteins, veggies, have canned veggies that you can lean on, make sure they're low sodium, watch, look at the ingredients, but having those staples, or even some like freezer meals sometimes, you just got to make sure you're getting quality freezer meals. We do the Kevin's meals every now and then, so we'll keep those
I was gonna say.
in the fridge.
Those are
So
my
there's-
go-to. And you just add
Yeah.
vegetables to it.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. So good. But for a family of 5, we probably do.
Yeah, yes.
It's small.
Better than just like.
That would be easy. Yes. I'm telling you, I took my daughter, she's gonna take to college. I'm like, at least once a week, make these.
Yeah.
So easy. Great way to learn to cook.
Is it
Yeah.
true? Stay on the perimeter of the grocery stores?
Yes, ma'am.
That's the best way to get, there's still good things inside, but the majority of the stuff you need to know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think a couple of other practical tips is like, I find that it's easier to sort of break it up in different days. So I don't like to do like grocery shopping and unpack all the groceries and prepare all the food and do all the dishes on the same day. So, you know, like you can sometimes like on the day you grocery shop, grab something, you know, like maybe a bagged salad with your protein on top. If you're vegetarian, you could do like just tofu is easy to cut up, or any kind of like boiled eggs is a good one to have on hand to add on this protein. Then that day you've done your shopping and your dinner's done. And then the next day you can do some of your meal prep. So like what I'll do when we do meal prep, it's like Mondays, I'll make dinner and meal prep a little bit more for the week because I'm already in the kitchen. So I think that's enough. And like another tip I have is like, if you do eat out, and I mean, you know, again, we want to be practical. Like, of course you're going to be eating out sometimes. Of course you're going to be doing social things. We try to take like the food that is left over from the whatever we ate and then incorporate into our meal prep. So you're like, use what you have on hand. So for example, if you go to a Thai restaurant and you get a curry, the portion is huge. I literally did this for lunch today. So I had like leftover Thai curry and I just chopped up mushrooms. Actually, I didn't even chop them. We had pre-sliced mushrooms. I sauteed them with some tofu that I had already cut and like mixed it together. And that was my lunch, right? So you can sort of lighten up your restaurant food that way because they put like really heavy sauces, probably more than you need. So when you get to the restaurant, eat that part, take the rest of the sauce home for you, you know, for your next meal. And then that way you have all the same flavors, spices, herbs that you really enjoy, but with like a healthy preparation of your protein and fiber.
You can always ask them to put half in a box before they even bring it out to you.
Yeah.
So that way you're not just mindlessly eating when you're at a restaurant talking to people, and then your meal prep's done for the next day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, like curries and stuff in particular, like they always skip on the protein. So it's always like a lot of sauce and like a little bit of the protein and the veggies. So then if you save that, you can use it again. And then I think one other tip is like, so if you do get off track for a meal, like don't throw away the entire week. Like it's okay if you got like fast food a couple of mornings or had to get, you know, takeout for a couple. It's like you can actually, again, use that as an opportunity. Like, okay, you were tired, you picked up takeout, but you have a bunch of food sitting in the fridge. Like after you eat the takeout, go ahead and like wash and chop the fruit. So you have that ready for the next day. So I think one thing I run into is a lot of times people feel like, oh, I have to do it all in this one big setting where it's not worth it, but you can break it up. And actually Nicole has a great resource for any of our patients or anyone who's interested on the staff side to take a look called Eat Love. It's an app. And what I love about that particular program is that not only does it give you the meal plan for the week, but it actually teaches you how to break up your prep. Because every day is like 5 to 10 minutes of prep instead of like everything on a Sunday. So I think it's a great teaching tool from that perspective. So if you're working with her or with any of our coaches, you can always add that to your program.
But yeah, and that one's really nice too, because you can actually plan your week out through the app.
It gives you a
Grocery list. You can actually send that grocery list to the store
Oh, wow.
for them to already buy it in your portions, or we can add family members. It's pretty intense and we can do a lot with it. It's a little overwhelming for a lot of people to start with, but you can really utilize it as a tool if you know how and make it so you're not even having to think about it. Then you just grab your stuff and you have it ready to cook.
And I think here's the beautiful thing about this is we talk about consistency a lot. And once you're consistent for a period of time eating this way, when you get off track like that, you're like, oh, I gotta get back. Like I just have to get back because you feel so bad. Your body starts getting so used to the good things.
You
And
won't
then
even like
realize.
realize taste the same,
Yeah.
which is wild. Like a brownie won't taste the same. It's pretty incredible when you start to think about it.
Takes only
Like,
a few weeks to taste to change your palate, yeah.
I also wanted to mention, make sure you know the capabilities of your grocery store. So, like
yeah.
Kroger will steam your fish and your shrimp for free, and they will wrap it up in the same price. They'll put any seasoning you want. They have back there.
That's good.
And H Mart will chop up your vegetables for you if you ask them
Nice.
for free and all that.
And I will say, to your point, thank you for bringing that up. There is, like, if you just don't like to cook or you never learned to cook, I mean, I highly recommend you do. But there are some really good quality meal delivery services now out there that there really is, you know, if you're, even if it's for 1 to 3 meals a day, you don't have to do every meal. But there are some good things out there that still will keep you in portion control with good quality ingredients. You just have to know the right ones. And that's why we're here to help you with stuff like that. It's depending on your situation, your environment, your schedule, the coaches can help you through that. Can we help you a little bit?
Yes.
Yes. A lot. What is your biggest takeaway?
So we're gonna head out. So,
Yeah, perfect. I
Thank you.
think we're wrapping up.
Yeah.
I said starting just with 1 meal, like just start with breakfast.
Yeah.
You know, you don't even, you don't have to pick for that. Sometimes just starting with one thing.
One thing I've noticed is all three of you have different approaches towards, you know, how you approach your week. You have certain days spaced out. She does it on Sundays for 2 hours.
Yeah.
You maybe extend a couple of 3 days at a time. or something like that. So just finding what's working through your
Yeah.
schedule,
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
makes you able to do it long
It's all
term.
Yeah,
individualized.
that's why it's personalized,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah.
And
I
you're
don't know if leftovers and all.
Yeah. That's important.
I couldn't, like, I see, but just me personally, like, you see when people, like, on TikTok or whatever, and they have the same meal packed up for like 4 or 5 days, like, me personally, I could never do that, but for some people, that's how they function and successful at it.
All power to them.
Yeah. There's lots of different ways of approaching it, so we like to brainstorm with people.
That's good.
Good questions. Thanks for your input. That's good. Anything else? No? Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. Awesome.
Where can you go?
Yes.